a windfall of $2.5 million, you ought to at least have $2.5 million in reserve, so for any issues that come up during the course of the year. It's just a swag. Dennis says there is no formula, but I think there's a reason why we've been successful in being able to handle some of the things that come up, either after a storm or that are long-term issues that we have to deal with. I think it's remarkable that a volunteer group like this has been able to do this, and towards that end, if we end up doing the drainage and Cessna and beach, I think we're going to need every penny we can get. Any further discussion?
I just have one final question.
Sure.
My last question to whomever is, great budget, looks like a lot of hard work, decreasing costs, except for one area that sticks out. Why is insurance up 53% on D&O and 31% on liability?
Randy, you'll speak to that, please.
We're a year behind. Last year, those two actually went up. In D&O, the number one lawsuit in any association currently is against board members. So D&O went up last year by $12,000.
We haven't had any claims though, right?
No, but it's the market. And then liability insurance, we have the market as well that they explain. And keep in mind, these are only estimates because you won't really get good insurance prices till you're within 30 days or so of the policy renewal. So this is what I could get right now, but if you take last year's insurance of $86,000, which if you add up all the segments was $86,000, then they called me and said, oops, one of the carriers can't meet those prices. A guy spoke out of line. It's really $98,000. And I said, no, we have a signed agreement for $86,000. You accepted our check for $86,000, and that's what it's going to be. The head of Brown & Brown's, all local guys, came out here and we danced, and I said, look, I represent a lot of wealthy people. If you want to get sued, your call. You eat it. And they ate it. So our insurance last year was really $98,000, and if you add up all those segments this year, it's $103. So we went up 5%.
That's pretty clever though, Randy, by the insurance companies, when you think.
Yeah, well, what do you, they tried to get us to pay it last year, and I just held the line and we didn't pay it.
Were you able to shop the insurance rates around?
Not,
or we just
no.
stayed with the same people and accepted their...
Stayed with the same people, yep.
Any other questions? Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have one opposed, please.
And just so the record's clear, I'm only opposed to the part of the budget that increases the assessment by $100.
Very good, thank you. Having completed the agenda, I'll call that we adjourn the meeting. And thank all of you this evening for coming. Oh, yes, sure. Well, it never made it to the agenda because of the notice that was given on Friday morning for this meeting this evening. 48 hours is required. Once you make notice, you cannot change the agenda. Now, Jack was with me, or I'm sorry, Randy was with me later on the day in Friday. It was about 3 o'clock, and we found in a phone conversation with Jack that he wanted this thing on the agenda. My response was that it's not appropriate to put that on the agenda. It needs to go to the AAC first. And I asked him to get with Jeff in order to launch this investigation with the AAC first. And then pointedly, I asked Randy that we make an appointment with our attorney to discuss all of Jack's points. I felt it important that we get legal opinion on what our options are before we discuss this at either the board level or even at the AAC level. There's no point in getting spooled up about this matter, because I can assure you there's going to be a lot of folks talking about this on both sides. So rather than get everybody spooled up first, I wanted the legal opinion first. And at that point, we'll have direction for the AAC, and with their efforts, they'll be coming to us with a recommendation at the board level.
So that brings up a good question. Are we agreeing that the proposed items will be on next month's board meeting? That would give you more than 30 days notice, I guess.
When's the next AAC meeting, Jeff?
First Wednesday, whatever that date happens to be. It's before hearing.
Oh,
The first Wednesday of November. So it's a week before hearing.
okay. If we can get an opinion out of Brooks, and we'll put him under that kind of pressure. Pardon me? Yeah.
So then the board meeting will be like the 12th? Well, yeah.
So by that time, we'll have the legal opinion. We'll task it to the AAC, and we'll make sure they get through it sufficiently fast enough that we can put it on the next board meeting.
And the board will get the legal opinion as well?
Yes, sir. Very good.
So to answer your question, it will be on the next board meeting.
Yeah. Very good. Yes, sir. It has. In 2006, the owner of where the cafe is now leased an office space to a flight school. This flight school came out of South Florida, I think. They had a handful of airplanes, and it was a very confusing time, because the flight school had no idea about how to operate at this airport. They parked their airplanes in the middle of the taxiway on Beach. That's where they felt like it was appropriate, because it's right in front of the office. It was an absolute mess. They left on their own accord because they couldn't make any money. But there was a great deal of discussion about it at that particular time. Now, I wasn't involved in the AAC, nor was I involved at the board level at that time, so I don't know exactly how far it got. But every time this kind of thing happens, we get a lot of response from our residents, and rightly so. I don't want to see another flight school here of that magnitude. It is disruptive. They're not vested in what we're doing here, and it's problematic. I don't necessarily agree that the Sport Aviation Club is, but I do enjoy the idea, and I would support the idea, that if the POA has an opportunity to become a third-party beneficiary in lease agreements, I would most certainly support that, because at that point, then you do have some say. Anything else? Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Oh, my copy, thank you.